From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, January 14th. Slightly cooler day expected today to end the work week. Mostly cloudy skies as well. There is a slight chance for us to see some snow late today into early tomorrow. Highs today are going to top out in your mid-30s. Still, watch that weather blog really closely throughout the weekend because there is this really interesting system that actually could make it to where basically everyone around us, except for Indiana, will see some snow, but we still have a chance. So just keep your eyes on that. You can find the weather blog at wishtv.com. Tennis star Novak Djokovic faces deportation again. Australia's immigration minister announced overnight that he's revoking the visa of the defending Australian Open champion. The government wants him out of the country because of his COVID-19 vaccination status and inaccuracies in his travel documents. Much like a tennis match, the situation has gone back and forth, with each side winning a point through policy or courts, only for the other side to win one back. Djokovic can still appeal, but time is short. The tournament starts in 3 days. Indiana sets another record. This morning, the state health department says 16,563 people have tested positive for COVID-19. This is a 7-day positivity rate, which runs on a week delay. The latest numbers were recorded from December 31st through January 12th. That total breaks the record that was set the week before, released January 7th weekly update. That was 15,280. ISDH reports that hospitalizations are slightly down from Wednesday, down by just 37 after 2 record hospitalization days. And this morning, the Howard County Health Department says it is out of rapid COVID-19 tests. To make matters worse, the department says it's not sure when it will get more from the state. The department warns that the wait time for PCR tests is 2 to 4 days. President Biden promises testing help is coming. He says his administration is purchasing 500 million more COVID-19 tests. The president says that's on top of the 500 million already announced. People can get the tests shipped to them. The White House says the supplies will be rolled out next week. According to the president, there will also be help getting masks.
I know that for some Americans, the mask is not always affordable or convenient to get. So, next week we'll announce how we are making high-quality masks available to the American people for free.
Some health experts say now you should wear an N95 or KN95 mask instead of cloth or surgical masks. This morning, President Biden is vowing to use his voice to publicly support employers who do what he says the right thing to protect Americans' health and economy. The president wants large businesses to decide on their own to set up vaccine and testing mandates, now that a new Supreme Court ruling prohibits the administration from forcing them to do so. We spoke to the president of the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. He explains challenges mandates bring when they're government-ordered mandates.
Plus, there was all kinds of record keeping and potential fines of up to $14,000, et cetera. It was going to be a real new burden for employers.
Indiana Senator Mike Braun, who led the charge against the mandate in the Senate, celebrated the victory on social media.
It was so important to businesses across the country. Back in Indiana, it was nonstop discussion. Finally, now we can breathe a little easier that the Supreme Court has weighed in.
The Supreme Court is allowing the Biden administration's mandate covering most healthcare workers to continue. And this happened as state lawmakers are considering a ban on vaccine mandates. House Republicans added the provision to prohibit COVID vaccine requirements in contracts in its latest mandate bill. The bill says employers cannot require employees to get the vaccine unless they also offer religious and medical exemptions, and employers would have to offer weekly testing as an alternative.
Somebody that's vaccinated and somebody that, tries to take all the health precautions, I'm always going to encourage that. But I think, what we're trying to find is that appropriate balance between the individual rights and what the employer is asking them.
For hospitals and nursing home care facilities to be able to operate, that they should have the opportunity to require vaccine mandates. And frankly, for even employers that are large employers over 100.
The bill still needs a final vote before it can go to the state Senate. House Speaker Todd Houston says he expects that vote to happen Tuesday. After months of unexpected delays, cancellations, and late changes to classes, Pike Township schools are looking for a new superintendent. The decision comes after months of going back and forth between the board, the staff, and parents. Many of the board meetings were met with rallies from Pike staff and parents after students spent several days on remote learning. The reason, a shortage of staff and school bus drivers who were fighting for higher compensation. Then, about 6 weeks ago, an online petition was created to call for Superintendent Flora Reichenatter's resignation. It's been signed by nearly 3,000 people. A district's social media post from Thursday night says board council is in discussion with Superintendent Reichenatter's council regarding an amicable separation between the superintendent and the Metropolitan School District of Pike Township. This evening, Dr. Larry Young was approved as the interim superintendent for the remainder of the school year. Young is Pike Township School's assistant superintendent of operations. He was also one of 3 finalists in 2019 to become a superintendent of Indianapolis Public Schools. Board members say they plan to begin the search for a permanent superintendent immediately. The House committee investigating the Capitol insurrection is turning its focus to social media. Members sent subpoenas to 4 major players: Meta, Alphabet, Twitter, and Reddit. The committee said it got inadequate responses to requests that those companies and their platforms cooperate voluntarily. The lawmakers sent requests to 15 social media companies in August to find out how misinformation and efforts to overturn the election played out on their platforms. The panel also wants to know how companies handled misinformation when it was posted. The founder of the far-right Oath Keepers militia group will face a federal judge in Texas today. Stuart Rhodes was arrested yesterday on charges of conspiracy to commit sedition in connection to the Capitol riot. Prosecutors say Rhodes sent communication on a messaging app that encouraged the use of force. They add he used the app to communicate with other members of the Oath Keepers during the attack. They also say Oath Keepers stashed weapons in a Virginia hotel as part of a quick reaction force. In addition to Rhodes, 10 others are facing seditious conspiracy charges, which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is pushing back the voting rights debate to next week, blaming winter weather. Hours earlier, President Biden had met with 2 Democratic holdouts, Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, to discuss getting rid of the filibuster. It's not clear what, if any, progress was made, but Biden did make his way to Capitol Hill yesterday. He pleaded his case to get the voting rights legislation through. Moments before he got there, Sinema made it clear that she wasn't likely to budge.
I will not support separate actions that worsen the underlying disease of division infecting our country. There's no need for me to restate my long-standing support for the 60-vote threshold to pass legislation.
In order to overcome a filibuster, at least 10 Republicans would need to join all 50 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus to pass voting legislation. So far, there's no indication of any support from the Republican side. And today, for the first time in a year and a half, millions of families will not get a monthly deposit from the child tax credit. The White House says more than 36 million families got money last month. The payment started through a coronavirus relief package, and the president's pushing for an extension for another year, but the issue is stalled in the Senate. A Census Bureau survey finds people are using the money for school expenses, childcare, and pay off debt. Britain's Prince Andrew is losing some of his royal titles amid ongoing legal trouble. Buckingham Palace announced Thursday the Duke of York has lost his military affiliations and royal patronages. According to a royal source, they've been returned to the Queen. He will also not use the title His Royal Highness in an official capacity. Other members of the royal family will receive his patronages. Earlier this week, a judge refused to dismiss a sexual assault civil case against Andrew. More missiles over the Korean peninsula. Japan and South Korea report the North launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles today. It's at least the 3rd launch from North Korea this month. The Biden administration put new sanctions in place after the first 2 launches. The man who assassinated Senator Robert F. Kennedy will stay in prison. California Governor Gavin Newsom has denied parole to Sirhan Sirhan. Newsom says Sirhan has failed to address what led him to assassinate the senator. Sirhan has spent the last 53 years in prison for Kennedy's killing. He was originally sentenced to death before it was switched to life after the California State Supreme Court declared the death penalty unconstitutional. And the Colts general manager fumes as he talks about what went wrong, what went right, and what's next. News 8's Charlie Clifford explains why Chris Ballard says the way this season ended is not good enough.
Look, we embarrassed ourselves. embarrassed our owner, embarrassed our city. I won't sit up here and make excuses of why we got our ass beat in Jacksonville, because that's what happened. We got our ass beat.
Thursday, Chris Ballard essentially still speechless on why the Colts collapsed over their final 2 regular season games. But over his hour and 4-minute press conference, Ballard made this very clear. The Colts non-committal on Carson Wentz's future in Indianapolis.
And we made the decision to make a move on Carson. At the time of the decision, we felt good about it. And I still don't regret the decision at the time. I'm not going to, just sitting here today, just so y'all know, I won't make a comment on who's going to be here next year and who's not going to be here next year. You've got to get stability at the quarterback position. And that position has to play up to his potential. Don't sit here, I ain't blaming all this on Carson. All right? I'm not. Because everybody else got to do their jobs too.
On Wednesday, Chris Ballard and Carson Wentz met one-on-one at the Colts complex. Ballard's major critique of Wentz's play in Indianapolis: make the easy play. Now on Thursday, Ballard did offer praise to Wentz in parts of his season. However, even after that meeting together, Ballard making it public, the Colts will look at everything when it comes to the starting quarterback position. For now, this is the soap opera around the NFL this offseason.
I'd like to quit Band-Aiding it. I'd like for, Carson to be the long-term answer or find somebody who's going to be here for the next 10 to 12 years. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, man. I can dream about it and wish about it and do everything I can to figure out the solution, but you do the best of what you can do at the time that you have to make a decision. That's how you do it.
If Wentz is gone, is there a better option realistically available? Don't forget this part of the equation either. Charlie Clifford, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
After decades providing laughs, Mass Ave's legendary Crackers Comedy Club is closing. That's according to the Indianapolis Business Journal. The owner of Crackers tells IBJ that financial challenges from the pandemic, the 2020 protests for racial justice, and road construction are leading to the closure. Throughout the club's 40 years, comedy stars like Jay Leno, Bob Saget, and Ellen DeGeneres helped launch their careers from that stage.
There's a lot of ways you can look at it. There's a lot of ways you can play it, and it's just been a fun ride. There's no doubt.
Another Indianapolis stable, this one that's been providing memories for more than 60 years, is also shutting down. Edwards Drive-In says it's due to circumstances beyond our control. News 8's Cody Adams learned that the family behind the business does have a new project in store.
We always said, how do you want to be remembered? In life, how do you want to be remembered?
Edwards Drive-In was started in 1957 by Jeff Edwards' dad and grandfather. Over the next 6 decades, they served their famous breaded tenderloins and helped create life memories for generations.
My oldest daughter, she said, if it wasn't for the drive-in, she wouldn't be here because I met my wife here. So I guess there's a lot of truth in that. As funny as the post was, there was a lot of truth in that. And then she also said that my 2 grandsons wouldn't be here if she hadn't met her husband here.
Like a lot of businesses, the pandemic was hard on the restaurant, and ultimately they made the tough choice to close the doors.
And COVID took all that away. It just changed the compass of how we could do business.
But as one door closes, they're embarking on a new route, switching to a food truck full-time.
Over the course of time, there's always been goals that you set. I'm a goal guy. Whether it's, taking this to this level or getting national exposure or, building the food truck and doing these things. And this is it's all new. So I'm hungry.
Of course, it won't be the same, but Jeff knows they'll help a new generation create memories.
We're not saying goodbye. We're saying that we'll see you again. Hopefully you'll appreciate what we're going to do next.
That was Cody Adams reporting. And this morning, many are rallying behind the broom guy. His real name is Jim Richter, and he's an Indianapolis fixture. He spent some 60 years selling brooms around the city, often outside the post offices in Nora and Castleton, or the corners of 10th and Arlington and 71st and College, near the School for the Blind, where he learned his trade as a student. Richter's wife, Kathy, passed away unexpectedly a few weeks ago. He's now asking for help through GoFundMe to cover funeral and medical expenses. The page shows a goal of $50,000, and at last check, it had raised more than $38,000. You can find a link if you'd like to help out at wishtv.com. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.